What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm actually going to talk about the Virginia governor's elections. I've not done this for real until now because I feel like I've been lacking the material to do it and maybe also the knowledge. But I want to do it now because it's not too long until the election and we really need to cover it, so let's get to this. What are Glenn Youngkin's actual chances at winning this election? I mean, he's been the underdog for the entire race. Virginia is a state that voted for Biden by 10 points, voted for House Democrats by 5. So let's take a look at previous elections and see how good he really have to do to win in the state of Virginia. Yeah, quite famously, Biden did win the election by 10 points in 2020. 2.4 million to 1,960,000. And he did win a lot of counties that should have been Republicans. We example have here, just south of DC, Stafford County, usually a Republican stronghold, same with Chesterfield County and here in Virginia Beach. So, considering he actually managed to win by that amount, well, we really should take it to that the Republicans need to win back their previous strongholds, and I do believe that Youngkin is the right candidate, but it is hard to say. Let's take a look at 2016. In 2016, that margin was only half of what it was in 2020, and Trump actually won Stafford County. He won there by 9, he won in Chesterfield by only 2 really, and in Virginia Beach by around 4, 3.5. So it was much closer, even though it was the first time a Republican won without the state of Virginia since, well, probably the 20s, yeah. So even though it shows a bit what Youngkin needs to do to win, it doesn't show the full picture. So let's go even further back in time. In 2014, Republicans took 9 Senate seats, and even though Virginia was seen as a Democratic-leaning one, it was actually the most competitive in the country in the end. And Ed Gillespie almost won, he lost by less than a point. And you can see that in this very close race, he actually won Loudoun County, which is one of the big 3 suburban counties of Washington, D.C. He of course also won Virginia Beach, he won in Chesterfield County, and he won in Stafford County by a whopping 19 points. But the whole reason why Mark Warner managed to make up for this was his strong performances in rural Virginia. He even won this county of Allegheny, which is Trump country to be honest, but he also got like quite good margins for a Democrat in this part of the state as well. In comparison, Trump, well, it's more than 70 or even 80% in all of these counties. So that really was a bad sign for Gillespie, even though he did better in the suburban areas. So Mark Warner won re-election by quite a narrow margin. Even before that, in 2013, the last governor's election that included Terry McAuliffe, he won against Ken Cuccinelli. I believe that here not all the votes were actually counted, but it was a narrow election, relatively. And again, it was quite narrow in Loudoun County. It was a election where the Republican won in Chesterfield, Stafford, and Virginia Beach. And it really does show about what the Republicans need to do. So I wanted to take a look at this. I made this map in the election shuffler. In this election, Democrats, well, they're winning by 6,500 votes, but it really shows. I have made the margins a bit less. I've tried to decrease turnout, and even though the counties of Prince William and Loudoun would be very useful for a Republican trying to win in Virginia, it is not a necessity. But say we flip Virginia Beach, suddenly the Republicans win. But it is hard to be accurate through this. But having played with this map for a while, I do know that Republicans really need to not only win back a lot of the suburban areas, but they also rely on a much decreased Democratic turnout in order to win. The Democrats cannot get anywhere near the 2.4 million votes they got, or Biden got in 2020. That cannot happen for them. But let me now take you to my final prediction. I expect it to be close, but in the end I would say that Terry McAuliffe is probably going to win by 2 points. It is narrow, and I am calling that by a plus or minus 5% margin, so Youngkin could win. If he wins by more than 3 points, or McAuliffe wins by more than 7, then I missed it completely. but it really is all about turnout. Turnout is, I think, everything in this election. Is the Trump base going to show up? Is the African American vote going to be very high? And then it is, of course, the battle about the vital suburban voters of Virginia. Youngkin will have a boost from the whole school situation, with the parents standing up against the teachers and critical race theory and the Board of Education. So that is certainly something that should be helpful for him. But there is also something else. So Terry McAuliffe is in big trouble as of recently. I mean, he is getting involved in certain controversies. One thing is Biden, which of course is not very popular and is not helping him anything. But he also can't seem to ever shut up about the 2000 election being stolen. And in the year of 2021, when a very big thing for Democrats is to continue to remind everyone that the 2020 election was not stolen, having someone to talk about the 2000 election was stolen, well, it's not really a good thing and not something that is helping them. Also, you have the fact that Biden is very unpopular. Embattled Democrat Terry McAuliffe is begging Biden to get his shit together. Yeah, and this is very, very understandable, it's 2021, and even though the COVID situation is sort of de-escalating to a certain degree, I'm not a reliable source on that. I do not have any public health official talking to me. Despite of that, what I guess everyone feels is that we're quite miserable. I mean, energy prices are soaring, gas prices are high, we have the Afghanistan debacle, and everything sort of sucks, to be honest. I mean, there's no reason to be happy for anything. Everything is quite miserable. So that is certainly something that would be a disadvantage to McAuliffe, considering that there is a Democrat in the White House and a Democratic Congress. But anyway, that was all I had for you today. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. So long.